lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast that prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's number one lycanthrope, Jack Russell, a.k.a. the Werewolf, a.k.a. the Beast, a.k.a. the Shaggy One. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
I'm your other co-host, Jacob Balcom.
Thanks for joining us this week, folks. We are picking up on the end of a two-part story that is Jerry Conway's return to the title, and he brought Tom Sutton, the incredibly talented artist, with him last issue. And we'll be finishing that mini run off this week and changing gears next week.
So I know you didn't like it when I called the Kane Brothers story a saga, but can we call this a saga? Like, this is a pretty intense 2-issue arc.
So a saga. I mean, I know saga literally translates to like telling. So I don't want to get all hung up on that.
Oh, God.
But does this take place over like 2 evenings? Literally?
I don't know if we get to third night in this, but there's just so much packed into those first 2 nights.
I prefer epic.
You don't feel like that's overused? Has been ruined somehow?
No, this is we call it a saga.
Let's call it a saga. It's Tom Sutton. It's Jerry Conway's last bow on the normal title. I think this is saga worthy. Even more than the Kane Brothers was.
Fair enough.
All right.
Yeah, and if they hadn't got rid of the Kane Brothers, I think that would have been a really good move because those guys could come up like Craven / somebody really smart and annoying. They had a lot of gas in that tank, and he just killed them off.
I know.
So we're going to start off here with Werewolf by Night number 10, and the cover is one thing I noticed on this cover, Jacob, is that this is the first one in like 6 issues that uses a title box with the logo in it, and then the cover art in a separate panel down at the bottom. I don't know if that was a conscious decision by, do you know what I mean? Like all the, I think the last one was the Joshua Kane issue was the one that had the little box in the top third, and then the bottom 2/3 is the art.
Yeah, I know. I'm always kind of curious about that. Like if that's planned or if they're actually just kind of using not a cover design explicitly for the cover, but just like a drawing, and then they throw the box at the top on. Yeah, it's always kind of I've always wondered about that. I mean, it's a great cover, but yeah, it's not a full page illustration like we've gotten in the past.
Yeah, I'm calling it panelized. It's a panelized cover.
I love it.
So, yeah, we have a great Sutton drawing here of the Beast chained to a sewer wall and lurching towards Lissa, and she's also shackled to a wall, and he's kind of he looks like he's wild and out of control, and she's saying, "No, please, stay back, don't kill me. I'm your sister, your sister." And he has, we talked a bit about how Sutton draws the Beast last issue, but here he has the all white. I don't know if there's a term for this in comics, but like I call them Batman eyes, but the domino mask where there's no pupil, there's no iris, it's just white, which is obviously a cartooning method of just like simplification. And whenever they do draw pupils and irises in them, and they look weird to me, like in every once in a while in RS, like I can remember, I think even in the first Spider-Man story, I think they put pupils in one of the panels of his mask. Do you remember that?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's an Amazing Fantasy 15, right?
Yeah, but here for some reason I could see like how that's kind of like you connect with people through the eyes, you express so much through the eyes, and so in here like this actually does a job, like an art job of like detaching Jack from the Beast. And the Beast is in control. Jack's not here right now, so Lissa is rightfully frightened because he's inhuman, out of control.
Yeah, you're right. The lack of pupils does dehumanize him in this drawing. So yeah, it is effective for sure. And in the background there, we have some of your bricks, your favorite bricks that are super detailed.
Yeah, from Texture Town. big sale. Yeah, it's great. And one thing that this has come up a few times in this book or maybe in another cover, but whenever Lissa is scared of Jack or the Beast, there's always kind of a weird, first of all, in this, so far, she hasn't been very sexualized in this series. She's 16, I think. And Plug or whoever's been drawing her has kind of just drawn her like a teenage girl. But in this last issue and this issue, I feel like she looks more womanly in her figure. Her clothes are tighter fitting. So there's a little bit of cheesecakey eye kind of candy going on there and really tight pants.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And then just the fact that whenever there's a monster and a woman and they're related, there's always a weird like Jungian incestual thing going on in my mind, like that. It like feels weird to me, the same way that when you would read about Night of the Living Dead and you would read about how like its impact on society in 1968 and the violence and this cannibalism and it almost everything I would read about this would say incest, and I always thought that was so weird. And the only things that are quasi incestuous in Night of the Living Dead are Johnny, the brother from the beginning that gets turned into a zombie, when all the shit goes to hell and the zombies break into the house and start storming through and everything kind of goes to hell. Johnny, the zombie, has come through and he grabs Barbara, the main female character, and pulls her out, implying that he is part of the horde that eats her alive.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always assumed that's what they mean by incest in Night of the Living Dead, because the only other familial thing is the daughter that's turned into a zombie stabbing her mom repeatedly with the garden tool.
Yeah, see, I don't get that at all, but maybe I need to look deeper.
But yeah, so I mean, I guess I always think of that kind of weirdness. Like this feels like when the fear of being attacked by your own brother and ravaged, even if it's not in a sexual nature, feels creepy to me. So this cover is kind of creepy to me, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. It's a little creepy, and I think it's a bit of a shock cover because, I mean, even in the past issues when Jack has been in his werewolf form, Lissa's never been in danger. Like even when that's implied, like, oh no, but he never does anything, and he always kind of recognizes her as, oh, that's Girl. I know Girl. She helps me. And so, yeah, I think this is just maybe a cover that's kind of drawn this way to, attract new readers, to be kind of shocking.
It's lurid.
It is lurid a little bit. And I do agree with you. I think that Plug takes a lot of care in not sexualizing Lissa. And I think Tom Sutton, as we talked about last episode, he's a more adult artist. Mm-hmm. And in his work for the other black and white horror mags, his stories can be very sexualized. And I think that, so that comes off a little bit in this, but again, she's 15 or 16. So I think right. Plug had it right. Just keep it innocent for now. Yeah.
But I think that, hearing you talk through the luridness of this, I do think it's almost kind of, it does feel like, I mean, if you've been reading the title, that Lissa's not in danger of her brother, that there is that connection. So there's that. And then there's the fact that this just kind of feels like Skywaldy, like not quite that out there lurid, but like it does feel like it's just kind of like, hey, if you're used to reading Psycho or whatever off the stands, you might actually, be thinking Marvel's lame. It's, too tame for me, but this might actually persuade a kid to grab it off the stands. That might be the motivation. I don't know.
Yeah, that probably is, because honestly, I mean, looking back in the issues that we've already gone through, like I don't think Lissa's ever said "don't kill me" to the Beast. Like I just don't think it's ever gotten that dark before. So yeah, I think this is meant to pop on the stands for maybe not all the right reasons, but still a great cover.
Yeah, it is a great cover. Beautiful work by Mr. Sutton.
Yeah, so on the first page in the interior of this issue, we get the title, which is The Sinister Secret of Sarnak. And the creators for this issue are Jerry Conway scripting, Tom Sutton again on art and lettering. And it's Petra Goldberg replaces George Rousseau as colorist. And this is her first issue of Werewolf by Night. She does one more. I think she does 15, if I'm correct. And she's new to Marvel, but will be coloring for them for the next 10 years on all sorts of great books. And then finally, we have Roy Thomas as editor. So basically the same cast of characters as we had for last issue, with just a different colorist is all.
And no Jack Russell narrator.
No Jack Russell narrator, which I liked that touch. Kind of wish it followed on this issue, but it's okay. So we open with a full page illustration of the Beast and Lissa. They're down in the pit. They're chained to the walls, and above them stand Sarnak and his creepy minions. Because this is Conway's last bow on this title, I'm going to read a lot of the narration this issue, just because I feel it's good enough to read, and I love Conway, as you do too. So I'm gonna read the narration on this first page. Second night, and I struggled with the weight of leaden chains. I and my sister were prisoners, held by a man who had the power to control the werewolf, who now was without. We see Jack, and he's chained to the wall, kind of growling. And it's a really beautiful page. I love the look of this page, especially the detail of the beast, the fur, and kind of the cool perspective.
Yeah,
where the reader kind of being behind the beast while looking up at Sarnak. It's a really, really cool page.
Yes, it's very. I mentioned this last time, but like there's kind of a weird funhouse, off kilter kind of thing. Like here, some of these things don't add up here. Like the arc of the pit lip, like compared to like where different elements are. I don't know. Just some of these things don't add up, but they work in an artistic way, which I like. Like just like the way Jack's arms are spread out, which shouldn't work compared to the way like Lissa's arms are spread. I don't know. I just was tripping out on it. Like it looks like a funhouse mirror version of how things would work physically, but it looks awesome.
Yeah, and you pointed that out last issue, and I really think that's one of Sutton's strong points as an artist. And he has these kind of weird angles and different things that really add to the creepiness of his art, which I love. Yeah,
I love it too. It's very powerful. So on the next page, Sarnak is there, and he's talking about how Jack's straining against his bonds, and it's not going to do any good. He's saying he has plans for the both of them, and Lissa's like, Jack, what is he talking about? What does he want to do with us? And there's an odd little bit of narration here where Jack says, I had a fairly good idea, but there was no way I could tell Lissa, for at the moment I was the Beast. I thought that was interesting that he was kind of saying that the Beast knew and cognitively understood but couldn't communicate to Lissa, which is almost like another step forward in the Beast kind of integrating with Jack or becoming more evolved in its own executive abilities or whatever. I don't know. So the werewolf rips his chains out of the wall, and he jumps up, starts swiping at Sarnak, and then Sarnak blows on his control flute, thus nullifying our hero, which was the repeated way to stop Jack last issue. And, I was thinking about this after we recorded the last episode. Like, I really feel remiss in not pointing out that the control flute looks like a crack pipe in every way, shape, or form.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Right?
Yeah, okay. It absolutely does.
Like it's got a spherical bowl at the bottom and then a glass stem, and it just looks like, I just kept thinking it's a crack pipe.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Okay. That is all I had to say about that. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, on the next page, Sarnak blows on the control flute. Jack goes crazy in pain. Lissa says, you're driving him insane, which I love what Sarnak replies. He replies, your brother Jack is already insane. He can be naught else since he is, after all, a werewolf.
Yeah.
But I thought, yeah.
Whatever.
What I thought, I liked what he said next, though. He says, believe me, Lissa Russell, a man's physical condition does affect his mind. I know that from personal experience. And so, yeah, kind of hold on to that thought for our reveal at the end.
So the logic there that was trippy to me, he's insane because he is a werewolf. And then she refers to him as like, no, he's just ill.
Yeah.
Both offensive things to me.
You need to fight for werewolf rights.
Yeah. I had to look up, like, is there some kind of Latin phrase for I am a werewolf, therefore I am insane? But there isn't one.
I love that you took that deep dive, though.
I know what it is. I translated it with Google Translate. It's ego versipellum esse, ergo sum insanium convertent.
You know, that's why listeners flock to our show. It's just little touches, little flourishes like that. Just, yeah.
It translates to I am a werewolf, therefore I am insane. I'll put that in the show notes for you. You can pull that out at a dinner party or something when those start up again.
I will. You just made my night with that. Thank you. So Sarnak goes on to tell us the story of the committee. So, okay, I'm going to read more of Conway's writing here. He says, there is in one of Los Angeles' less impressive districts a certain building, a building owned by a certain group, the committee, an organization of businessmen and financiers. Its purpose is to revive our flagging economy by any means possible, legal or criminal. So, yeah, I know. It's going to come up. We'll talk about that in a sec. But it says once a month they meet to discuss various projects, and one of those projects concerns you. And so now we're at a boardroom meeting of the committee where they're talking about profits are down across the country and consumers aren't buying enough, and they need to be shocked back into awareness of their immediate interests. And they have found just the man to help them with this problem.
This is the weirdest loop that I've been thrown for a while in this book, the committee, because they're in a rundown warehouse, whatever, but it's actually a really nice boardroom. They're a bunch of what you expect 1973 businessmen to look like. Like the leader is a frumpy dude, balding, comb over. Like these are the most banal, mundane looking businessmen. And they have this clandestine thing with this creepy name. And their plot is to stimulate the economy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. It's nefarious to say the least.
Man, they introduce the man of the hour, the man with the plan, the guy that's going to fix the economy, the flagging economy, and that is Sarnak, Master of Sound. And, all the dudes at the table are like, what is this, Carruthers? A costume ball? Because Sarnak is wearing his jade mask and his full-on cowl and cape. And he introduces them and says, let this guy talk and he'll explain himself. And he says, it's the first time I've appeared before my fellow man since the accident. And he goes on to explain, or Mr. Carruthers says, he was one of the greatest recording engineers or sound engineers in the country. He was a legend among his fellow professionals. Recently, though, he was involved in producing some illegal bootleg copies of LPs, and he was caught. And while he was trying to escape, he was injured and horribly scarred for life.
Best origin story I've heard in a long time. A renegade sound engineer who's caught bootlegging. I just want to know what the accident was that actually caused him to be scarred.
This guy is the go-to dude in the music industry for sound engineering. So don't know why he has to risk it all by making bootleg copies of the Carpenters, whatever he's doing. But there's a horrible accident when he's being chased off. And so he's scarred like the Joker or like Baron Zemo. Like it's some huge life-changing thing. But he uses that time of coalescing and recuperating to study sound even more in greater detail. And he finds out what frequencies control the human and animal brains. And that's when he makes his flute, or he calls it a control whistle in this flashback. And that's how he makes his army of fear. And then he gets the dossiers on Lissa and Jack Russell. And this is what kind of blew my mind. He's looking through, he's like, interesting. According to these files, you have reason to believe that a certain Jack Russell, misspelled, and his sister are werewolves? Those dossiers were compiled by the country's leading investigation agency. Years of research, thousands of dollars in detective fees. So they're saying the plan is it's your job, Sarnak, to capture them, Jack and his sister, and use them to create terror. And Sarnak says, I see. And the purpose of this terror? And then they told me. When I discovered their plan, I laughed, for it was painfully simple, my dear.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Sarnak goes on to explain the reasoning behind the whole scheme. I'm just going to read. He says, the public has fallen into apathy. It feels too secure in its mediocrity. As even the most uneducated economist knows, obviously, a secure man needs nothing and therefore buys nothing. Or have you never noticed how a country's economy booms during war and sinks during peace? And Lissa's response was basically the same as mine. She says, you're using us for that, for the economy? And I was just like, wait, the economy? That's what's going on?
And her jaw's about hit the sewer floor too. That was my reaction was, wait, what?
What? Yeah, it's the big record scratch of the issue, because you're just like, wow, okay, well that's nefarious, kind of.
Can we go back to the dossiers though?
Oh, those dossiers look badass. I want those.
So, yeah, these are huge, but the leading investigation agency. So I don't even know who that would be in the Marvel world, but years of research. So before Jack even turned, they knew that he would exist, right?
Yeah,
because
so
of his father.
Yeah, they knew about his father. They knew about the Darkhold, and so
they knew about Lissa.
They knew about Lissa.
And they had basically, I mean, this is like Millennium or whatever, like one of the like X-Files type of like these are Men in Black, whatever, shadowy, deep throat, blah 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 dudes. Yeah. All like, he's in Malibu.
Yeah.
Come alone. Yeah, I just was tripping out on that. The fact that these guys, like, I'm no economist. I'm not the most practical dude in the world, but like, and I know Conway's 21, so gonna cut him some slack here, but this is the most berserk plan I've ever heard. This is you need weed to come up with this plan.
You
to
do
stimulate the economy. I mean, I know we're on our way to voodoo economics in the 90s or 80s, but damn.
But still, I mean, I get the simplistic logic behind it. I mean, like you, I am no economist. I am not going to say that I can completely discount this theory. And yeah, I mean, yeah, economies boom in war and kind of sink in peace. I mean, we know war makes money, but does werewolf chaos make money? Does that make people spend more?
I don't know. I mean, last night we got a taste in Century City of this plan, which is a bunch of stinking zombified hobos and one werewolf going berserk on 20 people on one city block. Are you going to be tuning into the news the next day and be like, the Dow was up 15 points?
Yeah. No, everyone went out and bought a new hi-fi the next day in LA.
I don't know. I was completely tripping. I was amused, I guess, would be the very polite way to describe.
Oh, it's awesome. Like, no, I love it. I mean, this is great comic book logic.
Yep. Gary Sarnak.
Yeah.
He was the greatest.
So yeah, after that big reveal, we jump to a new location with a familiar face. Lieutenant Lou Hackett, who we love, has just gotten the word that some shit is going down at Century City, and he has what does he say? He says he has the eeriest feeling that those pesky Russell kids are involved. So yeah, Lou and his partner take off towards Century City, and okay, so the next panel, Dawn has arrived. I want to read Conway's words again here. Dawn comes a few minutes later, gray and washed out, over the stubby towers of the City of the Angels. And while Hackett headed north to Century City, the rays of the morning sun played over the city streets. I love Conway's level of poetry. Like, I love the way that he describes things. I just think it's just the perfect mixture. It's not too over the top.
Yep.
It's a little over the top, but not too over the top. It's the exact right amount.
It aspires to be a little higher than it should be or can be, but it doesn't reach so far that it's pretentious and clunky. Like he's always striving, and there's always these nice moments in it. I totally agree. Gonna miss that guy. I did have a question. Back at the end of Sarnak explaining the plan, he says, and of course, Miss Russell, isn't it time you paid your way? And he starts laughing maniacally. Is he alluding to the fact that they're rich? Is this like a social commentary thing? Because they know everything about the Russells.
Yeah, they do. I mean, maybe I didn't see that layer on there, but I don't know. I mean, Sarnak was a very successful sound engineer, and in the 70s, that meant some decent money.
Yeah, he knew John Bonham, I bet.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah.
So the next page, we have this nice set of 6 column panels on the top that show the sun shining down, then going down through a sewer grate, then striking bars of metal, going deeper in the sewer, caressing walls of concrete, striving through the darkness, and then finally reaching Jack in the pit. And we get our first transformation scene from Sutton.
It's the first. Is it the first beast to man? Yeah. It's the first beast to man, I think, and then we get another one later on. But yeah, this is the issue where he gets to show his interpretation of the transformation, and I love this one. This one's really beautiful.
Yes, interesting. The line work. I mean, the first panel, there's darkness and lots of ink on the fur. And the second panel, it's a transition panel, and it's very, very light touch on the pencils and inks, like almost looking like it's ghostly or ethereal.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he becomes Jack, he becomes a little more solid. So I just thought that was kind of a cool way to approach that.
Yeah, and I like in those first 2 panels, there's like a little bit of sparkles, I guess,
mm-hmm.
but manly sparkles.
Yes.
Like.
So Jack kind of wakes up and he's like, Liz, is that you? And she's like, what's going on? Vince was frightened. And he says, well, if I remember correctly, Sarnak and his clowns left a little while ago. They went to get some food. And so Jack obviously has complete recall of what the beast hears. And once he turns back human, it's all there. I was trying to imagine them going to get something to eat, but I didn't want to get hung up on that imagery.
No, it really it made me laugh. I just like that. It was just so matter of fact. She's just like, they said they were getting food. Like, and yeah, I just imagine them like, opening a manhole cover, climbing out of the sewer.
Yeah.
To go to
scuffling their feet, looking around at the subway behind the glass.
It's
we
really
get
funny.
10 footlongs.
Yeah.
Alyssa's saying, Jack, you tried to jump out of this pit before when you were the beast and it didn't work. And he says, well, I hate to tell you this, sis, but wolves aren't built for climbing.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Not on the very next panel, on the next page, he says, but men are. It's the simian in us, kid. And so werewolves aren't big climbers because of claws, I guess, like at least in stone. Is that kind of, did you get that from that whole exchange?
I got, I don't know. I just let that happen. Let it wash over me.
Not me. I just overthink everything.
I've seen dogs climb fences. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I've seen some amazing stuff, but
I don't know. It's a good line though. I love that. It's the simian in us, kid.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Jack is looking around trying to find a way to free Lissa, and then one of Sarnak's minions gets the drop on Jack in a really cool panel by jumping on his back, saying, "Sarnak commanded you to stay. You will obey Sarnak, or you will die." And yeah, it's just so cool. And yeah, and again, his minions just look like melted face, fucking swamp zombies. Yeah, super freaky looking.
At the end of that page, it says, it was one of Sarnak's trained freaks, a stinking mold of a man, encrusted with slime and moss, reeking of dried wine and other fouler smells.
So good. I love the dried wine.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. You don't really hear that, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that would make sense. That was great. Again, I'm gonna miss Conway so much.
So Jack does a little judo move and flips this guy off, saying, "I may not be as strong as a werewolf, but mister, nobody's ever called Jack Russell a 98-pound weakling." And so the beast, hobo sewer creature doesn't seem to be worried about that. He comes and attacks Jack, and there's a great panel of the close-up of the beast saying, "Sarnak commands, all those who disobey his commands must be punished. Your words are just sounds. They mean nothing. But it's a super hyper detailed close-up of these things are blistery and moldy and multicolored and textured, and they look like cottage cheese and rotten.
Yeah,
meat.
I mean, we learned last issue that Sarnak has basically hypnotized the homeless into becoming his little chaos army. But it almost seems like whatever he's done to them has made them more physically monstrous as well. And I don't know if that's true or not, but it kind of ties in thematically to the reveal at the end of the issue. But I don't know. I mean, did these, houseless people, or hobos as they're called in here, did they look like this to begin with? Because they look fucked up. They look like plague victims.
When all was said and done between these two issues, I didn't know if I quite understood the approach to these guys. I liked it.
It's awesome.
I don't know if I can make sense of it.
No, it's not explained very well, or there's not a lot of logic behind it. But God, they look terrifying.
Yeah.
Like that panel especially.
So they continue to grapple. The beast has a cudgel. He swings at Jack. Jack picks him up, throws him like a ragdoll over his shoulder towards a ladder. So
Jack defeats Sarnak's flunky and then tells Lissa that he's going for help, and he just leaves her there. He leaves his 15-year-old sister alone, chained in a pit, but he promises to come back.
Well, what's the alternative, though?
I know. I mean, I'm trying to put myself in Jack's situation. My sister is chained up. He looks around for something to break her chains. He can't find anything. So I know he's making a smart, calculated move, but it still is frightening.
Yeah, and the little panel where he's literally sprinting off into the city. He's like chains, shirtless, shredded jeans, going, "I promise, I'll be back."
Yeah. So after
as well,
I would be super worried. Like, no, it's
Jack's kind of a flake so far. So
yeah, just ask Buck about that. He knows.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we switch back to Lou Hackett, who has arrived at Century City to kind of find it deserted. The cop at the scene tells him, they found this abandoned car and sewer water all over the street. And so in this car, Lou finds the registration of one Philip Russell. And he's quite proud of himself, really. He says, "What did I tell you, Vince? The Russell family is into this mess up to their necks."
Yeah, the proverbial necks.
Yeah. So, we switch next to the Russell estate with Philip inside, reading the paper, smoking a pipe, like all good stepfathers do. When the doorbell rings, and I like that for some reason he assumes instantly that he's like, Lissa has forgotten her key again. And he's instantly pissed off because he's an asshole.
Blast it.
So he's just like, fuck this kid. He's like, okay, kid, I'm coming. Yeah, stepdad of the year. But it's not Lissa at the door. It's actually a couple of goons sent by the committee. And they tell him, your account is way past due. Philip starts to say, like, I already told your employers, I have no intent. And then one of the goons, like, cuts him off with a sock to the kisser, knocks Philip out, which feels good. I got to say, like, when Philip got a full-on punch to the face that knocked him out, I was just like, oh, that felt good. Knocked that pipe right out of his mouth.
I was going to say, I'm glad the pipe didn't come out the back of his neck. These two goons are odd-looking dudes, too. Like, they would stand out like a turd in a punch bowl. I don't think they're going to, like, the taller muscle guy has, like, one of those, I think we talked about this, like, in the first issue, those, the German hats with the feather in them.
Yeah, like the Tyrolean hats.
Tyrolean, yeah, we did talk about this.
Yeah.
Call back.
That's right.
And then the other dude has, like, a loud fedora on and sunglasses. They just look like they're going to a porno theater. or to dump a body.
They do. At first, I thought it looked like Luther Kane's manservant, but he had like nice pinstripe suit on. He looked much more like old world gangster than these guys. Yeah, these guys look like they're going to a porno theater for sure.
So they throw Philip Russell over their shoulder and say, be careful with that guy. The committee wants him in one piece. They have unfinished business with him. We must see to it that they have an opportunity to complete their business forthwith. That's the little guy. So I'm already getting a picture of who these two guys are. There's a Tarantino-esque run to Denny's that I'm sure would be hilarious. I had to get cut for time.
The little guy, he's the smart one, see? Yeah.
So they scoot off out of there just as Lou Hackett's arriving. And he comes up there and bangs on the door to talk to Philip Russell. He says, no answer, Hackett. What do we do now? Simple, Vince. We go in. Door's unlocked and no one's here. Wouldn't you call that odd, Vince? Personally, Vince, I'd call that very odd indeed. So here's a little LAPD classic for you, right? I mean, last time I checked, I don't think that an unlocked door is probable cause for entry from the police.
That's not going to stop Lou Hackett.
No. So now he is in the Russell household, free to do whatever he wants. Meanwhile, down on Venice Beach, Jack has just burst through Buck's door. Buck, help me! Scared the shit out of Buck, who was typing up a story for one of his assignments. Jack, what is it? Been running past 2 hours. Must have strained something. Can't keep on my feet much longer. And he passes out. And that's when Buck catches him. And again, this is going to continue here on the next page a little bit, but Buck's he has like Aunt May levels of obliviousness / denial at this point. If he's not, your friend just came in shirtless, shredded jeans and manacles, broken steel manacles. And he's disheveled and covered in sweat and hasn't slept in days and passes out. And you're just like, I'll take care of you, buddy. Don't worry about this. No questions asked. Yeah,
see, I just think that goes to show again what a great friend Buck is and what a shitty friend Jack is. Jack is never like, hey, Buck, can I help you move? Can I wash your car? Oh, wait, I wrecked your fucking car. No, I can't. Yeah. No, he's a shitty friend. And so it's like several hours later, Jack wakes up. And I like Conway kind of hilariously says that Buck is clucking over Jack like a mother hen tending to her young. Which, Buck is very caring. He's great. He's a great friend. He's made some coffee. And Jack instantly asks, long-suffering Buck for a favor. He asks what any of us would ask if your sister is chained up in the sewer surrounded by monsters. And he's like, Buck, do you know any sound engineers? And I love Buck. He doesn't miss a beat. He's like, kid, whatever you say. He's like, he's like, name it, friend. He's like, so he obviously knows a sound engineer because he's a badass.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's Jim Carrey. You want me to call him? He's like, please, I'll need his help. And he's like, kid, whatever you say.
But you have to play this out. I mean, Jack was passed out. Buck was over him sweating with a hacksaw, dutifully, carefully cutting off manacles from his young friend. Nary a question about it.
No. And he's had to do shit like this so many times.
Yeah.
And also, like you're right, like Aunt May level of obliviousness. Just like, this is just what kids today do. He's not a werewolf by any means.
I mean, we're old friends, but if you showed up at my door with manacles on and no shirt and you passed out and I caught you, I would get smelling salts and be like, Jacob, why did the manacles? Jacob.
Yeah.
Explain the manacles.
You'd ask a follow-up question at least. Maybe just one. Yeah. I appreciate that, though. I know you would hacksaw my manacles, and that's true friendship. I appreciate that.
I would do that, but I would be asking lots of questions.
Yeah. No, that's your right.
Yeah, it is.
So I love after that it just flashes to a panel of Sarnak, who's not happy that the beast has escaped. His first word is imbecile. So he's taking it out on one of his flunkies. He says, our plans must simply be rearranged. Within the hour, we shall strike and terror will fill Los Angeles. So, yeah, I mean, well, at least he's sticking to the plan.
Yeah. That was a great cut, though, on Conway's part, too.
It's awesome.
Like, very Cobra Commander, like, temper tantrum.
Yeah, no, and I know it's great. It's just like this jump cut to Sarnak freaking out. No, you're right. Cobra Commander is probably the best comparison I can think of for that panel. They're back on the surface, and we see one of the sewer dwellers kind of come up through a manhole, and there's this kid who we see later as carrying a bunch of Marvel comics, says, holy cow, will you look at that? Some sort of freaky monster.
So, yeah, this kid has a stack of comic books.
Yeah.
And as these hobo creature swamp things are erupting from the manhole cover and, just swarming around, and Sarnak's rising out too and saying, strike quickly, my pets. Strike because I command it. Let them know terror at your touch. Teach them the meaning of fear for the economy. I threw that part in at the end. But so they're swarming and they knock this kid over and all of his comic books fall down. He's saying, he thinks, if only Thor or Spidey were here, they'd show him. And so I started going back and looking at the comics this kid has and wondering, kind of tripping out, like, what is like at this time in Marvel, the self-reflexive, like what is the state of comic books? Like, I know sometimes in DC, some writers have basically treated Marvel like it exists in comic books in their world. Mm-hmm. And have kind of alluded to like a, web guy or whatever, hammer guy, and like just kind of obtusely. So like in some DC worlds, Marvel is comic books. And
not to get all,
because Spider-Man has a comic book, right? At this point, isn't this around like the whole like Spider-Mobile? Didn't he have a sign off on a book being published about him, a comic?
So you mean the character Spider-Man is signing off on a comic that is in world?
How do comics work in the 616?
I'm not sure at this point. You just made me think, and I had read a little bit about it, but I think maybe even just 6 months before. Did you ever read about that weird like quasi crossover that like Conway and Len Wein and maybe it was Wolfman at the time, but there was this weird like fake Avengers Justice League, like almost this like clandestine crossover that all the writers like got together and like kind of threw different little elements of each other's comics into their lines. I think that had happened not too long ago. But yeah, as far as like actual Marvel comics existing in the 616 universe, I'm not sure at this point.
Okay. Because I feel like the Fantastic Four were fully marketed people inside that world at that point. Like there were action figures of Ben Grimm like in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there are. I just can't offhand think of any examples of that. But yeah, the kid has, he has Spider-Man and a Thor comic, and yeah, he's making the references. So
anyway, I just kind of went down a little rabbit hole there when I saw that, like tripping out on that. But so there's complete bedlam here. These normal civilians, a wild mix of civilians, and all of these freaks. So there's a hippie and a cop and this kid with the comic books. The cop comes up. One of the creatures grabs onto a hippie, and a cop comes up and says, "Okay, Buster, hands off him," and breaks his nightstick over his head. And then the cop says, "Even if he is a hippie, I can't let you," as he breaks his nightstick. And then the hippie says, "Far out. Looks like they've got us outnumbered, Fuzzman. Never thought I'd be rooting for a cop."
Oh man, Fuzzman. I love the hippie speak. Marvel hippie speak is just it's my happy place. Yeah. Whenever hippies talk in a Marvel comic, I fucking love it. So yeah, Sarnak and his goons are really kind of pummeling this hippie and cop. Well, and then on that middle panel there, I love it. They're chanting attack, attack. It's like that middle panel is really scary. We should put that up on the Instagram feed. It's one of those instances where dialogue outside of a word balloon is really effective and kind of scary. And it's used in another instance in this issue, but I think it's really, really effective.
Yeah, that's like when like a phalanx of Roman soldiers start like beating their shields with their sword, and you're like, oh, we're fucked.
Yeah, it is. No, it's cool. And it's like, I mean, this is, a full panel of Sarnak's groovy ghoulies. But
this is the best page, I think, as a whole.
Oh, it's so cool. So much is going on. And it's just, yeah. So then that bottom panel, they're kind of quickly surrounded by like 5 police cars, and cops are jumping out with their guns drawn, which like finally the cops show up at, in actual numbers to fight this fucking army of monsters.
Yes. And then we get another huge, nice big panel. The police are saying, surround them, keep them back. And Sarnak says, you'll find that a most difficult feat, my fine foe. None may prevail against Sarnak and his Legion of Fear. So now they have a name.
Okay, I like it.
Move, you helpless swine. Show them your strength. Reveal to them my power. And they all go up, and like 10 of them go and push a police car over. And it has this big onomatopoeic crunk as it falls over on the side. Kind of like an Eisnerian kind of cool way, like the panel layout.
Yeah, that's the most Eisnerian flourish in this issue. And yeah, I love it. Yeah, just crump.
Sarnak just says, apparently this is enough. He says, enough. It's time to recoup, my obedient ones. Let them dwell on what they've seen. Tomorrow we will strike again after we check the Tao. So the cops are kind of like, what the hell? Like there's shit's on fire around them. It's just absolute chaos. And so, one cop says, hey, did you see that? He led them out of here like they were children, and he was a crazy Pied Piper.
But I think the cops are also really confused. They're just like, wow, they totally had us defeated, and they just took off.
Yeah. But I love that it took this long for somebody to make a reference to the Pied Piper.
That's true. That's restraint is what that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the next page, while all this crazy shit is going on, Buck has rounded up his sound engineer friend named Jim Carrey, who has brought over a device called a sonic screen, and it blots out sound in the upper frequencies. So hypothetically, it should be able to counter Sarnak's ultrasonic control flute. Theoretically, yes. And then so we have 2 panels and then a big panel at the bottom. And God, these 3 panels are really, really beautiful.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, Jack is kind of, slowly kind of sneaking up on the freaks. And as he gets closer, the change comes upon him. And we get this crazy cool transformation panel, which is Sutton's first man to beast change. And it's a doozy. Like, it takes up the bottom third of the page and is a series of 5 stages of transformation. It's so cool. Obviously, we're going to put this up online too, because it's really, really badass.
Yeah, that panel, the first of those 3 with Sarnak and the freaks going down in the manhole cover, is also absolutely amazing detail line work on there. I love the moon, the way he's portrayed it in the last 2 of those panels, where it's all like stipulation and just crazy good stuff. Oh, actually, yeah, he was right. He was saying it wasn't luck which brought us together. I've been waiting there for hours. So Jack was actually standing in the alleyway watching that sewer entrance, waiting for them to arrive. And then luckily the moon has been rising as well.
And I do like that he refers to it as at the bottom, and it was time for me to do my Lon Chaney routine. Only this time I didn't really fight it at all.
Yeah, that's rad.
And he immediately is like, the she. They have the she, the one who was kind to me. I must find her, free her.
That's great.
So again, the beast isn't Lyssa's in no danger from the beast. Yeah. I mean, the inside of this issue really kind of nails that point.
So I liked Jim Carrey's Sonic screen, which is now strapped to Jack's arm.
Yeah, it's like a cylindrical thing. It looks like it has a bunch of buttons, like a calculator thing on it. And yeah,
I thought that was like a filter.
Or maybe it is. Yeah, you're probably right. It is probably more of a filter, but it's strapped to his bicep.
But if you're just listening at home, this looks like, in Super Friends, whenever Batman has to go underwater, it looks like one of those, like he has those tiny scuba tanks that he can just hold in his mouth. It looks like those, huh?
Yeah, it does. It really does. I love it.
So the next page, Jack has jumped down the manhole cover, but now he is the beast. And he's thinking the she must not be chained. He hates the idea of this woman that was kind to him, that he cares about, being kept a captive, because obviously as a wolf, that is abhorrent to him, the idea of someone being held captive. So he jumps down in the sewers, and he's stalking through like some sort of primeval spirit, as he says. And a few yards away, Sarnak says to Lissa, "What's that? A sound? Your brother, perhaps? Some doomed effort to save you, Miss Russell? Surely he would not." And then Jack lurches in, going, "Arr!" growling. And Sarnak says, "The abysmal idiot." So the freaks jump onto Jack. We've seen this routine several times now at this point. And, Sarnak's just monologuing, you were a noble idiot to come back here. And now you'll be made to pay for that and for your escape. This bottom panel is great. It has Jack just going to town on the freaks. They're flying around like, I don't know what. I mean, just throwing them like rag dolls around.
And I actually thought this panel here, Sarnak looks the most like he's about to freebase cocaine.
Yes, he does.
Like the control pipe is so perfectly placed. Oh, made me laugh.
So, he's thinking, there was no new thought of escape in my mind, only the red rage of hatred. With a snarl, I struck out, lunging for Sarnak's masked throat, eager to tear it with my claws. That's a great panel.
Oh, it's so cool. So, the beast knocks Sarnak to the ground. Then Sarnak starts to blow on the control flute, and it has no effect. He's like, "I order you. The command whistle orders you. Why don't you stand? Why don't you?" And the beast grabs him and throws him across the room. Well, Sarnak is saying, "The whistle, my wonderful whistle. It didn't work. It didn't work." So we figure out, the sonic screen. The sonic screen has worked, and his magic crack pipe has no effect anymore.
The beast manages to tear the chains out of the brickwork of the wall, bringing brick with it. So he's getting stronger, it seems like. He's torn chains out of brick twice this issue.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting stronger. And so Lissa's saying, "Jack, can you understand me? Do you know what I'm saying? It's been horrible, terrifying if you hadn't come. I can trust you, Jack. Even as you are, I know I can trust you. Please take me home. I'm tired, so terribly tired." So Jack picks her up as the beast, and he's carrying her out. And we get this sequence here where, now that the spell of the control flute is gone, these freaks, the army of fear, or whatever they're called, are realizing they are no longer under control, and they're slowly rising and rousing. And they're starting to communicate with each other. "Sarnak, he's the one who did this to us. The one who hurt us. Find him, hurt him, make him pay for what he did." And so they all descend on him, chanting, make him pay, like one of us, and freaks or something.
It's so cool. And again, those words outside
panel.
of any other. Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, and so, like you said, the newly awakened ghouls are basically beating the shit out of Sarnak as he's screaming, "Don't touch my mask, not my mask." And the beast picks up Lissa and walks away through the sewer. And the final narration, which I'll read now, is, "But knowing that the secret of the man called Sarnak was not in what he thought was a scarred and misshapen face, but rather in what he'd made of his immortal soul, which no man may hide from himself, not even behind such a finely wrought, such a wonderfully simple emerald mask." And so the reveal, Sarnak's mask is off, and we see that his face isn't scarred and misshapen and disfigured at all. He just looks like a normal kind of handsome hippie dude with blonde hair.
Yeah. His hideous scarring was inside.
Yeah, it was inside the whole time.
And it was because he broke copyright law. I love the panel. I mean, that last panel where you see that he is not a hideous, misshapen freak is cool. But I love the one with Jack carrying Lissa off, that next to the last panel.
That's so cool.
Very universal monster, but obviously not so sinister. It sounds like it should, Lord Lift Us Up Where We Belong should be playing.
With the depth of that last panel too, we have in the foreground we have unmasked Sarnak, but then deep in the background, past those rats from last issue with the awesome tails, you see deep in the background Jack carrying Lissa down the sewer tunnel. It's just so cool. Such a cool panel.
Yeah, great use of depth there. And next comes the Hangman. And sadly, there is no letters column this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That seems kind of anticlimactic for Conway's last issue.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that I believe the lag is 4 issues before people comment on what happened.
Okay.
So we'll be hearing about this around 15.
Yeah. Okay.
Reaction to Conway's return.
Yeah, so this is Conway's last issue and Sutton's last. Well, no, I mean Sutton is a co-artist the next 2 issues. The next just next
one,
issue.
Right?
He's a co-artist with Gil Kane. So that's his last appearance, I believe, in the series as well. And yeah, next week we'll be talking with Brad Elmore about that issue. Happy to have him back.
Yes, I'm excited to talk to Brad about this upcoming issue. So what do you think about issue 10? Let's dish.
I thought it was great. Like honestly, I think that I loved these Tom Sutton issues. Like this arc was definitely the most serious and adult story that we've gotten so far in the series. We've had a couple of other 2-issue stories like the Kane brothers and the Carnival of Fear, but this one's my favorite. Like this is Jerry Conway going out on a high note.
I love the art. I love the more adult approach, both in art and kind of a little more sophisticated and darker story. I don't know how much I love this as a ending to this story that was begun in the last issue. I enjoy the goofiness of the committee and this ultimate plan and Sarnak, but it I don't know. It felt like it was I love the art. I guess I don't know.
You didn't like the story of the wayward sound engineer that's been driven mad?
It wasn't that. It wasn't any particular element of the story I didn't click with. It was just more that it felt like it was short, very slight in story. So like once Sarnak and the plan are kind of set up, it just feels like it's kind of tumbling to an inevitable quick conclusion, which I felt was a little bit of a letdown. But I often feel that way. I think that's more me than the writer's fault.
See, I liked this arc that it established the committee as the big kind of bad guy behind the scenes that we're going to see a lot more of in the series. I love the kind of twist at the end of that, he was only ugly on the inside the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, you're right. It is a simple story. It's a bit of a slight story, but I think as establishing the committee and is also like a really entertaining couple of issues. I loved it. I thought it was great.
The committee is so goofy, and like imagine these people doing something like, like in the Dark Knight when the Joker goes to that dinner party of all the Gothamite elites, and he's walking around like all kind of held hostage by the goons and terrifying them, and he's walking around and kind of interacting with each person, wondering if Batman's there, like this whole Sinister just on the edge of your seat thing. Imagine if the committee did that like with Sarnak here, like if they had an actual plan, like let's kidnap some business leaders and do something. I mean, just like they literally go out and start going bananas and wreaking havoc, and then just go, okay, now back inside, gang. Like it started raining during recess.
Yeah.
Like it just was very anticlimactic.
Yeah, their retreat was really funny because they're absolutely on top. They have these cops on the ropes, and then they're just like, okay, fall back, fellas.
Yep. We'll come back and do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they're regrouping again so they can do it tomorrow. Their goal is to strike fear in the hearts of the common man.
Yeah, it's a game of inches. I get that. And I don't know how many 8 tracks of Led Zeppelin 4 they sold because of that one event, but it's just a very odd plan with very minor payback.
Yeah.
That I had a hard time really getting behind.
Yeah.
But the committee evolves and gets more sinister, and just kind of a weird start for their saga.
All right, I can see that. I get it.
I forget, does Sarnak ever show up anywhere in the Marvel universe again?
I don't think so. I didn't do a deep dive on Sarnak. It's funny. I'm so used to in this series the bad guys appearing and then disappearing for the rest of Marvel history.
Yeah.
Like that just seems to be the pattern that we've noticed this whole series. Tatterdemalion, who didn't show up in this issue, but it was a big part of issue 9, he shows up a couple different times.
Yes.
In Marvel history.
Oh yeah. I think he was part of the Night Shift. That team.
I think he next shows up in Dazzler, I think, like Dazzler 33 or 34, and then he shows up a few times, more than any other kind of antagonist that we've run across so far. Yeah,
definitely. I don't know how the splash page is colored in yours, but I thought that he appeared in that opening shot because all of the ghouls are in purples and golds and those colors, and there's one of the people that's in the blue. Is yours?
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, one of them is blue. So you think that's Tatterdemalion?
So I thought Petra was trying to make one of them be Tatterdemalion, or maybe there's a note saying that it was, but he's never employed in any kind of meaningful way.
No, but you're right. I mean, that is a conscious color choice. So yeah, I'm sure they're trying to illustrate that he was there in the amongst the ghouls.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. I like Sarnak. He's weird. I thought the whole sewer legion is creepy. I thought it was more effective in the first issue. According to the Grand Comics database, that Sarnak did die. That was his death. So he was not just catatonic from being beaten by his minions and having his mask taken away. He is dead. Okay.
Well, kind of par for the course on this comic.
Yeah. I remember Tatterdemalion shows up at one point years later in a Marvel team up with Spider-Man, obviously, and Jack. They fight him together, but that's like not till like 1979 or something. That's a long ways away.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with no letters page, what kind of business can we do? Multimedia?
Yeah, we got to talk about media. What have you watched?
Well, I've been doing that Noirvember, so pretty noir heavy. We can talk about a werewolf movie, though, that I watched during October in a little bit. But yeah, let's see. What would you be interested in? Oh, so I was watching today The Strange Woman, directed by Edgar G. Ulmer. He's a guy that you and I both like quite a bit. He did Detour. He did The Man from Planet X. He did lots of different genre work. And I was wondering last night, actually, as I was trying to fall asleep, like, why did he only do genre work? He's an incredibly talented dude. I bet there's a story. And so I looked him up, and there is a very interesting story behind him. There's actually some books written about him, but I think he claims that he worked on Metropolis and M. He was a student under Murnau. He came over here with Murnau to study to work on Sunrise, and I think he stayed. And the reason that he didn't work for like Paramount or whatever was because he was having an affair with one of the studio head's wives before she left him, and she eventually married him, but they were having an affair, and that was known by the inner circle of like the studio people. And so he only worked for like PRC and Poverty Row stuff essentially because of that. So that was a choice that he made in his love life that ended up him working on B movies and sometimes lower grade movies than that. But he's super talented.
So was it Murnau or Fritz Lang?
He says he worked with both, but Murnau was when he came over here.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Did Murnau direct Sunrise?
Yes.
No. Yeah?
I thought Murnau directed Sunrise, but Fritz Lang, obviously, with Metropolis. And then went on to do some... Yeah.
Yeah, but he says he worked with both. Those are disputed. There's no documentation on some of his stuff that he said, this is what I did in my homeland, right? What I did before. But he says he came over with Murnau, or he did come over with Murnau, and that's how he got here. But interesting stuff. But so, yeah, this has Hedy Lamarr in it. It's kind of odd as a noir choice because it's set in the 19th century. So it's a crime noirish thriller, but it's set in like the early 1800s.
Really? Like. Oh, that's different.
Yeah. So it's on it's public domain, so it's on YouTube and Prime and everything. They're not terrible prints, but they're okay. But yeah, so far it's good.
Hedy Lamarr, eh? Oh my God.
Yeah.
One of the
She's
most
a good,
beautiful women to have ever lived. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's pretty cool. All the, you know, a lot more. I think there was that documentary about Hedy that came on. Been on Netflix for a while. I think Julian Jacobs made one not too long ago, but kind of going on about her inventor career and all the cool shit that she did, and that people really discounted her because she's one of the most beautiful women to have ever lived.
Yeah, I want to see that doc.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, the full length one that's on Netflix is super good.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out, definitely. Other than that, last night I had to have a little bit of a break. Noirvember's starting to get to me a little bit. I've been wanting to kind of watch some other stuff, but I don't have time to do anything but one thing. So I did do a neo-noir just because I wanted to watch a Wings Hauser movie. So I watched Living to Die, which was his first directorial effort, and it was from 1990. He made 8 movies in 1990, or 9.
Holy shit.
Dude, he was so active back then. But this is he plays a jaded cop who's become a burnt-out private investigator in Las Vegas, and he gets caught up with this kind of crooked gaming commissioner guy who's being blackmailed by a seemingly dead prostitutes, her pimp, and it's pretty cynical, pretty sleazy. It's kind of funny how. Go ahead. Sorry.
You should give a little backstory as to your relationship with Wings Hauser, and both of you and I have a great love for him.
I don't even know if people know who Wings Hauser is, but he's an actor that I've fallen in love with because in our show that we did prior to this, That's Cool, That's Trash, we watched a ego exploitation vanity project movie where the writer, director, star, producer, singer guy cast Wings Hauser, and I was just like, I knew this guy's name. I'd probably seen him in something before here and there growing up, but I didn't really know much about him. And his performance had this kind of, pre-motorcycle wreck Gary Busey / Dennis Hopper intensity, very stylized, nuanced, and berserk kind of energy. And I just loved him. And so I was like, we need to make June Wings Hauser month and only talk about Wings Hauser movies in June. And we did that for a few years. And I love the guy. I've seen he's made between television. I mean, he was on pretty much any show made between 1972 and 1998. I mean Murder, She Wrote, Simon, whatever. I mean, name it. He was probably on it.
He's got to have close to like 200 credits. Like his IMDb page is so long. He's just done everything.
Yeah, I think that the average person who doesn't dig into oddball cinema too much might know him from that Richard Pryor movie, JoJo Dancer. It was kind of like one of his bigger crossover kind of things. Tales from the Hood was one of those kind of indie horror movies that kind of blew up and became a cult film that was widely seen. I think he was in a movie called The Informer or something like that from 99 that's like made by a major studio. So yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of stuff. Tough Guys Don't Dance is another one that's kind of a well-known, infamous or famous movie that he was in.
Oh man.
But yeah, so this is the era in his career where he was kind of in the late 80s started making some erotic thrillers, which I started tripping out on this last night as I'm, hoping that my daughter and her friend that is doing a sleepover didn't come downstairs to get ice cream or something like that while the stripper or whatever the hell is going on, extended sex scene is happening. That's really where noir went. Like as far as like, obviously noir ends around 1960, but neo-noir basically as our hang-ups about or our rating systems for movies kind of relaxed or whatever. And then so nudity and sex became more acceptable. That's where noir went which makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, you're watching late 40s, early 50s noir, and it's all about cheating on your wife and getting sucked into this stuff. And
no, it always wanted to go there, but never was able to.
Right. And yeah, I started. Well, I had some edibles. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I was tripping out on a lot of stuff, but I was thinking about like how much of film noir that we love, that whole fatalism and getting sucked into this path that you can't get out of. How much of that is the Hays Code? Like, how much of it is like, no, if you steal from your work and you cheat on your wife, you can't prosper in the end. Like, how much, you know what I mean? Like, how much did that shape
that is literally the Hays Code.
Yeah.
It's just like if you show these things on screen, you can't have a good ending. You can't you can't do these bad things and like you said, profit from them. And that's literally the Hays Code. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of it, but I don't know. It's like, did the fatalism or the code come first, kind of thing? It's a little bit.
I think that the fatalism came first, and it came in the pulp writing. But I think that they kind of fed into each other after a while, to where it just became like, well, we're not going to censor this, so.
Yeah, because I don't think, like, I mean, you read the novels that a lot of these are based on, and they're not censored really in any way, like Raymond Chandler or Dashiell Hammett and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Pitfall, right? I was reading this up. So I read that the censors felt that the guy was not punished enough for cheating on his wife. And so the director or the producer handpicked two people on the Hays Code board that he knew had mistresses, and pulled them aside and said, I think that you guys, of all people, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, would understand why this is not a problem, right? And they went, oh, yeah, no, this is fine. And that's the only reason that film passed. Yeah,
it's funny you mention it because, in the end, like, he doesn't have a lot of consequences for his actions. Nope. He ends up killing the dude, and his wife forgives him. So he's like, I did all this shitty stuff, but no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on with my life as an insurance adjuster.
Yeah. So those are the last two I watched. I'm ready for a break from noir, but I love it. I still haven't got around to seeing some of the big, the top 5 most famous ones that are on Criterion, because I don't have Criterion. So Double Indemnity, still need to see that, for instance.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
It's funny. That's Fred McMurray, right? I love when Fred McMurray doesn't play a nutty professor character. Like, I love when he's a bad guy. Like, he's a bad guy in The Apartment too. If you've seen Billy Wilder's The Apartment, and he's just kind of a sleazy guy in that. But I love him because he has like such a we know him as such a goofy character normally. So I love when he plays like a hard boiled bad guy. Really makes me happy.
Who's in The Apartment?
It's Shirley MacLaine.
Oh yeah.
Fred McMurray, Jack Lemmon, I think.
Yeah. Lemmon. Yeah. Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah, it's great movie. So I wanted to ask you a question. So you, in one of the Instagram posts, you had used music from The Beast Must Die.
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched that. And, it's kind of, I thought of it kind of like almost a Most Dangerous Game kind of take on a werewolf movie.
It's the Most Dangerous Game meets 10 Little Indians.
Yeah, definitely. That is the best description you could ever have of it. I liked the music, but the film was kind of boring to me. I really got bored in it.
Yeah, I think that I was more into the music and Calvin Lockhart, his performance.
Calvin Lockhart is awesome, and I love the little device they use at the end where they call it the werewolf break.
Oh yeah.
At the end, where there's like a minute to where they're just like, okay, we're stopping the film now. You get to decide, who do you think the werewolf is, and it goes through all the characters, and then the actual like a stopwatch comes on the screen. It's like, okay, you have 30 seconds to decide before we reveal it.
Yeah, I guess the director hated that and felt like that completely killed the film's momentum. But I, as you know, I'm a huge fan of any gimmick, like William Castle kind of dorky gimmick stuff.
It really felt William Castle to me, but I loved it. I thought that was great. But the movie itself, God, it just moved really slow and was really, really boring. I mean, it had Peter Cushing in it. It had Michael Gambon. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, that felt like one of those Peter Cushing, what I can call sleepwalking roles.
Yeah.
There was a period, I think, I don't know if this is the right period or not, but after his wife died, who he was insanely devoted to, where he was very despondent and detached, and you can see it in some of the roles where he's just there. He's trying his hardest. He's a great actor. He has, great principles and all, but his heart's not in it. And this might have been one of those. I'm not sure, but yeah, I didn't love it as a film. It had just been on a list, man. First, it had been something that I've been wanting to see so it was produced by Amicus Films, which I love a lot. If you folks don't know, they were kind of, if you know Hammer from England, they were a lesser Hammer, kind of Kmart version of Hammer. So they would poach a lot of the same stars, and they would do those portmanteau films, like with the little, wraparound story and the 3 individual things, and there'd be Christopher Lee or Jack Palance or whoever would show up in a Hammer thing or anything kind of a mainstream portmanteau anthology film Amicus would do, and they did some of the best ones in my opinion. So I love Amicus, and for the most part, they succeed when they try stuff, but it's their feature films that are not anthologies are very hit and miss in my opinion. And this was a miss. I'm glad I saw it, to say that I saw it, and Calvin Lockhart again, and the music and the gimmick. But I was definitely playing solitaire here and there on my phone throughout some of it. Yeah, it's pretty turgid.
Yeah, it is. And I've seen enough werewolf films by now and realized there's those two camps. There's one where the beast will be more of a human form, so like a human in makeup, and I think in The Beast Must Die, it's more of just a wolf form, where they just have like a wolf, like fighting with a dog, kind of thing like that. And I think that, it's not my favorite. I think even when the makeup is a little cheesy, like maybe an Oliver Reed and Curse of the Werewolf kind of makeup, I do like it better than them just using a wolf.
Now, I know that becoming a wolf is like the purest mythological form of this, at least in my estimation, but it's my least favorite way of handling the change or whatever. Like, just becoming a dog is not really that exciting to me.
No.
It's a body horror of, right? That's why American Werewolf in London is so great. Rick Baker's special effects, the pain, I love the idea of like that every time they change, it is like being torn and pulled inside out, and it's just going through hell. Like that's part of the appeal to me, is that horror.
Yeah.
That, just like, yeah. So I love that. And so when they turn into a wolf and just cut to a actual wolf doing something it was trained to do, I don't find that very interesting.
No, it takes me out of the story for sure.
Yeah. So that was just me checking off an Amicus film, to be honest, and seeing something that I've been reading about for years and film guides. So I didn't mean to drag you into that with me. Sorry.
Oh, no. I'm like you. I want to check werewolf films off. I want to go through the whole list while we're doing this show. So I'm trying to think. Well, I watched Ginger Snaps as well, which I thought was great. I kind of want you to see it and us to have an extended talk about it, because it is really, really great.
No, it's on Shudder, and my family has been meaning to watch it since Halloween, so we will watch it soon, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm really excited to talk to you about it. I guess the other comic themed thing I watched on Disney Plus, they just released this documentary series called Marvel 616, and I watched a couple episodes of it. I thought a couple were interesting to me. One especially I really liked. It was one that was a history of women at Marvel. It was directed by Jillian Jacobs, who plays Britta on Community, and she's kind of just directed a lot of docs recently and is really great at it. And as a comic history dork, I really, really liked it. I thought it was a really cool kind of fresh take on it. There was a lot of boxes checked for me. There was this one scene that had Louise Simonson, Ann Nocenti, and June Brigman all in the same room, like talking. And I was just, freaking out. It was so cool. And there was so much footage of interviews with Trina Robbins, who is my all-time favorite. Like, she was a 70s underground comic writer. She wrote Wonder Woman. She designed clothes for Mama Cass. She kind of co-created Vampirella, did the costume for that. And I actually know her best because she's an amazing comics historian. Like she edited those the collections of Miss Fury that I've talked about before. She wrote a history of the 20s illustrator Nell Brinkley, who I really love. And yeah, she's just a fucking treasure. She just turned 82 and is like the cutest little lady ever. I fucking love Trina Robbins. So Alicia and I, my wife, we're super fans. So that was worth the price of admission for me watching that.
How are those, like an hour more or less, those individual Marvel things?
Yeah, I think most of them are under an hour. The one on the Women of Marvel almost seemed longer. It was really extensive.
I think it was the longest one. I was flipping through those. That's on Disney Plus, you said?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. And yeah, the first half is basically Women at Marvel, which basically starts with Marie Severin. And well, I mean, Tarpe Mills, Marvel did publish like 3 or 4 issues of Miss Fury, I think in the maybe late 40s, early 50s, which was, done by Tarpe Mills, who's amazing. But yeah, I mean, as far as Women at Marvel, it starts with Marie Severin and just, kind of goes from there. But I loved it. I think it's really well done. It's really well informed, and you can learn a lot. So
what's your favorite Ann Nocenti stuff?
I like her. I think the first things I read of hers were her Daredevil. Like her Daredevil's kind of badass.
What's that run known for?
Well, I mean, before she was writing, she was an editor. She did a lot of editing and did a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know her Daredevil tie-ins to the 80s stuff, like the tie-ins to the Mutant Massacre line, the Inferno storyline that went through all the titles, and she wrote the Daredevil one on that. But she's still doing cool stuff. She wrote that book with Dave Aja. It's called The Seeds.
Oh, I heard about it. I heard that was good. I haven't read it.
It's super cool. I mean, he's such an amazing artist. They did 2 issues of it, and then it just disappeared. Like, it was supposed to be 4 issues.
Yeah.
They did 2 issues, and then just radio fucking silence. And people were kind of being dicks about it on like Dave Aja's Instagram feed. And he's kind of just like, hey, shit happens, family stuff comes up. He wasn't giving any details, but
right.
I guess they're going to release it as a graphic novel, as a collected in January. So we'll be able to get the conclusion to that story. But I highly recommend picking that up when it comes out.
Okay. I feel like I grew up like hearing respect for Nocenti and her work, but like, when I went and like dove in to try to read some stuff in the last few years, I thought it was unreadable garbage. The Long Shot miniseries was absolute coked out mania to me. What was the other thing I read? Oh, she did like part of the Rebirth or something at DC. She did Green Arrow, and it was unreadable. I read like 5 trades of it, and I was just like, I was hate reading it. Like, it was a trip how bad it was.
Yeah, I remember not liking the Long Shot series very much, but I mean, people love Art Adams, and I'm not a fan of him and his pocket obsession. So it's just not up my alley. But I think Ann Nocenti did a lot of really good editing work and worked on X-Men stuff and worked on a bunch of stuff. So it was cool hearing her talk with Wheezy, with Louise Simonson, about doing all that editing and kind of wrangling the boys that were doing the X-Men titles at the time.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And then, June Brigman, who illustrated Power Pack.
Right.
Which I was just the right age when Power Pack came out, to where I was just like, holy shit, this is great.
Yeah. I've wanted to revisit Power Pack and see what it reads like as a 45-year-old man.
Yeah, I know. I've kind of wanted to do that too, but I've held off. So I'm just like, I might want to keep that perfect in my head, as a 6-year-old kid or whatever when it came out. So, but I highly recommend it. I watched that episode of Marvel 616. I watched the one with Paul Scheer. That's it's called about forgotten characters. It's basically him just kind of doing this humorous, like, I want to do a reboot of Brute Force. which was that which is funny. It's pretty funny. I didn't like it as well. And then the other ones didn't really interest me. There was one on toys, one on cosplay, which, that's not really for me. I'm not gonna rag on it, but those things aren't really my jam.
No, the two episodes you're talking about were the two I cared about. Any comics reading outside of this?
I have been went back and reread the issues because I think a new one comes out tomorrow. Have you heard of Undiscovered Country with Scott Snyder and Charles Soule?
I know their names, but no, I haven't heard of that title.
It's really cool. God, I don't know how to really describe it. It's about it's maybe 30 years in the future. There's this time when America basically closes itself off to the world, puts up these sonic barriers, no one gets in or out. And so no one's heard anything from America for 30 years. And there's this worldwide virus, there's this pandemic in it that's killing everyone. And these people get this transmission from inside, this closed off America so they send this team in there to kind of figure out what's going on. And it's fucking awesome. I can't remember who the illustrator is, but it's really cool. And it's really well researched. It sounds like Scott Snyder and Charles Soule basically went to DARPA and was talking with them about okay, what would happen if America walled itself off from the world and spent all this money on experimental programs and did all this crazy shit. And it's really awesome.
Wow. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It was one of those that was that kind of made headlines because I think it was optioned for a film even before the first issue was out or right after the first issue was out because it's just such a cool premise.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really delivers. I've enjoyed it. I think the 10th issue comes out this week. So I kind of went back and have been rereading those.
Is it a maxi series or an ongoing?
No, it's an ongoing.
Oh, okay.
The first trade is out. You may be able to get that. And then it's up to issue 10, and there's I think 6 issues in the trade. So
okay, no, I'll see if it's available through my library for sure. That sounds good.
Yeah. How about you?
I love Scott Snyder. I've started Doomsday Clock, so I'm about 4 issues in. I won't dive too far into it, but I would just say that I think this is the best thing Jeff Johns has written in I don't know how long.
Yeah,
it's I'm really digging it, and I'm loving the artist and how it's kind of paying homage to the original art without aping it. I feel like
I agree.
Same DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Gary Frank, right? I think is the artist on that, and it's totally paying an homage to the original series while having it totally be his own as well. I know people shit on new Watchmen material, and I totally get it. Tom King right now is doing his own Rorschach series that's ongoing. I haven't checked it out, and I get it. I mean, it's not Alan Moore approved. I totally understand. They're kind of just milking this Watchmen cash cow, but I think Doomsday Clock is the best thing that's come out of that universe since the original.
Yeah, I mean, so far, again, I'm only 3 or 4 issues in, but it's feeling almost on par with the HBO series of just being a very true to the source, high quality story coming out of there. So you like the HBO series, right?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I mean, this that one's more like an extrapolation, what would blank be 30 years later, whatever. But this one's kind of a more direct lineage from Watchmen, obviously. But they're both just seem like there's quite a bit of integrity behind the storytelling and care put into it. That the people who shit on these things, I understand why people shit on them, but I don't think that these deserve it.
No, I don't think so either. And I'm a huge Alan Moore fan. I'm a massive Alan Moore fan. And but I really loved the HBO series. I mean, I think everyone loved it. But I almost want that series, the genesis of that series, to be okay, if we make a new Watchmen and make it about racism, Alan Moore won't be able to publicly shit on it. So I wanted that to be their kryptonite, to where it's oh, he's not going to like it, but he won't be able to publicly shit on this.
Yeah. Well, that was a great approach.
It really worked. And I love Alan Moore, and I love reading about him shitting on projects too. Like I'm a sucker for that. I'm a sucker for all things Alan Moore. But I loved that. They kind of they beat him at his own game there.
Yeah, and I'm just I'm picking up some series that I started and really liked and then dropped off on for one reason or another. So Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer, have you read that?
No, I've heard good
Dark
things.
Horse. Such a great series. Do you know the premise?
No.
It's kind of like an analog for like the Justice League. And there's a analogous event that's like the Crisis story. And at the end of this multiverse collapsing thing, this Justice League team is essentially shunted off into a pocket universe that is like a rural town. And it is a very confined small bubble that they're just kind of stuck in. And so it's just kind of this fallout of like, so we're stuck here and this is our lives now. So it's a cool premise. And I love the first volume, and I'm picking that up again just to kind of get back in that space so I can move on and read the other stuff that he's done from that. But it's spun out to some kind of spin-off books, and I think he's kind of handling it the way Mignola does Hellboy, where it's kind of like things are a story that's a trade. So it's not like an ongoing as much as a regular series of books kind of thing.
Don't you feel like that's the future format, though? Like that's where we're going to, and that's where we should go to, you know? I mean,
yeah, definitely. Like I got that we talked about this a little bit before, but that TKO Werewolf book, Lonesome Days, Savage Nights, where when I ordered this, the option was to get a slipcase with 6 issues or to get the 6 issues in this trade, which I got. I love that. Yeah. And I love that, it's all coming out at once. I really hope that we shift towards something like this. I know that a lot of my friends love floppies and love the monthly read, love the way that as a writer using that intermittent kind of break and the breakup of having chapterized stories, using that to their advantage as a device. I get that, but I don't like it.
Well, it seems to put undue pressure on creators to maybe sacrifice a story for just being able to pump shit out every month. I mean, I feel like there's a real shift towards more of a kind of, collected or graphic novel, kind of like what what Matt Fraction is doing right now with Elsa Chartier, I think is the way you pronounce her last name. It's called November. It's a noir book that is being released in like 4 hardcover volumes. It's badass. I'm gonna loan that to you next because it's really, really good.
No, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and I think that seems to be better for creators to work like that. And it's like, I want creators to be happy and want to do their shit because that means their shit will be better and we will enjoy it more. I don't want someone to be married to this monthly schedule that they have to pull their fucking hair out to try to keep up with.
Yeah, and also in the early aughts, there was the Ultimate books, and there was a bunch of kind of pushback after a few years on Bendis and whoever else for like the decompression, right? So there'd be like a Ultimate Spider-Man story, and it would be like 6, 8, 12 issues long, and it's like this was like 3 issues, like when they originally told this, like they're kind of writing for the trade, right? I mean this werewolf story we just read with Sutton and Conway, this would have been like 6 issues in 2004, and it would have been a trade.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, it would have been an entire trade.
And I'm all for decompression when it's an artistic choice that's made because you're doing something intentional, but when it's just writing for a trade and filling slots on a bookshelf for hardcovers and soft covers, I have an issue with that. And I feel like I read Ultimate Spider-Man the first like 85 issues, and it could have been 45 issues easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a character trait of writers like Bendis or Dan Slott, to where they're really good at stretching a story out, and it's readable and it's great, but yeah, more of a compressed timeline for those guys is always preferred for me. Yeah, and I love Bendis. Like Bendis is great, but yeah, sometimes his runs can be a little long. Yeah.
The only other thing to talk about, I guess, was the other book I'm picking up because I loved it so much was Something is Killing the Children. Did we talk about that one yet?
I don't think we have. I mean, I saw that on a lot of people's like top 10 lists, but I honestly don't. Yeah, I haven't really read anything about it except knowing that it's acclaimed.
Yeah, it's written by James Tynion.
Oh, yeah.
Did I say his name? Who's written some Bat books or something.
Yeah, he wrote Batman and Robin. He also wrote the series for Boom called The Woods.
I've read the first. Yeah, I read the first two of those. I liked it. I like this a lot more. This might be my favorite thing he's ever written. Super cool story. I highly recommend anybody check it out. I don't want to talk about the setup too much, but the title's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yeah, good Monster Hunter stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it right now. I've downloaded Daredevil Volume 2 of Zdarsky stuff. I'm ready to start that, but not yet.
Yeah,
I want to get through Doomsday Clock.
Yeah. Oh, just real quick. Speaking of Monster Hunter stuff, did you read David Walker's Bitter Root at all yet?
No, I saw him posting about it, but I haven't read it.
Oh, it's so good. It's like, a family of monster hunters in the Harlem Renaissance. And it's just about how like kind of inherent racism like makes monsters of people, and it's so good. Like the art is amazing, and yeah, I love David Walker's stuff. And Bitter Root is one of the best things he's ever done. So I highly recommend that.
Is that finished or is it still an ongoing thing?
It's an ongoing thing. The second trade was just released. So cool. Yeah, absolutely worth checking out.
No, I like David Walker, so I'm down for that. Next week we will be talking about Werewolf by Night issue 11 with our friend Brad Elmore, and I think we might talk a little bit about Werewolf by Night issue 2 from 2020, right?
Yeah, that'll be out, and we'll both of us will have read it, so we'll definitely have to give that a little mini review. I'm anxious to see where the story goes.
Me too. Ben promised lots of big monster fight action this issue, so I'm ready.
Yeah, the panels they've posted, Ben and Taboo have posted online, have been really cool. I'm anxiously looking forward to it.
Me too. All right, well, everyone, thank you for listening. Join us next week, and until we meet again beneath the full moon, furry ones, here's howling at you.
Werewolf.